Namaste. A very warm welcome to all the dearest viewers of Satva. Hope you are enjoying our videos. And today we are delighted to bring before you a very, very special person. He is the first person from the West who graduated in Ayurveda and who has got a license to practice in India. A person with a fascinating journey in the field of Ayurveda, Tantra, Yoga, Jyotisham, and whatnot. With great pleasure and great respect, let me welcome Dr. Robert Svoboda. Namaste ji.
Namaste.
So my first question for you is, what inspired you to travel around the world and especially to India?
When I left the United States, where I was born, I did not really have any intention to come to India. I just had an intention to see other parts of the world. So I went to Africa first, and I crossed Africa overland from the west coast to the east coast. Then I joined a tribe in Africa.
Yeah.
Then I flew to London. Then I crossed overland to Nepal because we had family friends in Nepal. And this was 1973. So while I was in Nepal for 3 months, and I met several people in Nepal, and it turns out a friend of mine from college was in the Peace Corps. And so I met various other Peace Corps volunteers, including the Peace Corps doctor. And he was the one who told me about Ayurveda. So then, and I had been admitted to a medical school in USA. But I had, after going through Africa, I realized that there were many other ways to treat conditions other than modern medicine. So when I heard about Ayurveda, I was very interested. And then in January of 1974, there was a Kala Chakra Diksha that the Dalai Lama was giving in Bodh Gaya. And so I went down there. It was a big thing. There was, I think, probably, people were claiming there was 5 lakhs of people there. There were a lot of people.
That's a huge function.
It was a huge function. And it was very impressive because, Kala Chakra is the Anuttara Yoga Tantra for the Galupas, for the sect of Tibetan Buddhism that His Holiness the Dalai Lama belongs to. And so this was the first time I had been exposed to any kind of Tantra. And I could tell that it definitely was having some effect. And His Holiness was very impressive. He's a very impressive individual. But even more impressive was a Lama named Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche.
Okay.
And he was a very tall man, but he also just had an aura, a chaya, a hawa, that was extremely large and powerful. And so I thought this was an eye-opening experience. So I thought whatever these people have is something I should have also. But how should that happen? So I thought, well, we say in Hindi, dekha jayega. So I got on a train to come down to Bombay to meet a friend of mine from high school who was traveling. So I was in Bombay, and I was wandering around, and I was thinking, how am I going to learn more about Ayurveda? So I was in Kolaba, and there was a Chinese restaurant that's not there anymore. And I walked up to it with a friend of mine who I was traveling with, and a man and his wife and son came out. And all I said to him was, is this a good restaurant? Should we eat here? He took out some money. He gave it to me and my friend. He said, eat here tonight and come eat with us tomorrow. So I thought, okay. So the next day we went there, and they said, like people, especially back then, you know, there were not that many Videshis in India. So everybody wanted to know, what are you doing here? Kyun? Why are you, you know, what's the old...
We are always curious with the Videshis.
Naturally, kahani kya hai? You
Yes.
know? So I said, well, I'm interested in Ayurveda. And they said, well, we don't know that much about Ayurveda, except that Mr. Daftari said, my mama, my maternal uncle, was the chairman of the committee that translated the Charak Samhita from Sanskrita into Gujarati, Hindi, and English in the late 1940s. So I met Dr. Mehta, very fine man, but he was in his 80s, so he's not going to help me study Ayurveda. So they said, that's as much as we know, but if you walk downstairs, one flight of stairs, right below this apartment, there's a saintly man from Hyderabad, and he will possibly know something. So I walked downstairs, and I met the saintly man, and he said, Ayurveda, what a great idea. And then he talked to one of his devotees, a Mr. Fazl Boy, who was an industrialist in Bombay, very fine man. And Mr. Fazl Boy said, well, it turns out that Pandit Shiv Sharma, who was the most eminent Ayurvedic Vaidya in India at that time, who was elected to Parliament specifically for the purpose of regularizing Ayurvedic education. He said, Pandit Shiv Sharma and I belong to Rotary Club Bombay South. I will call him up and you can meet him. So Mr. Fazl Boy called up Pandit Shiv Sharma, and Panditji said, come on over. And I came over and I said, Panditji, I would like to study Ayurveda. He said, well, you're in luck, because it turns out that 3 months from now, the Tilak Ayurved Mahavidyalaya, Pune, is going to have a batch of students in English medium. Now, you will still have to study Sanskrita, and you're going to have to pass the 4 Sanskrit test papers, but that's 9 months from now. You can study, you can learn enough Sanskrit in 9 months too. But he said it will be better this way, because otherwise you would have to learn Marathi and Sanskrit at the same time. So I thought, no, this will be better this way.
And even you were to write in Sanskrit, right?
Well, I didn't know how to do that. So I would have to learn Devanagari also. So there was a lot that I would have to learn. So I thought, one less thing. And sadly, I never really, Mala Marathi Toda Samajto pan bolu shakat nahi spashto. I never really learned Marathi that well, even though I lived in Pune for 6 years. But I went to he wrote out a letter, admit this student. So I went to Pune and I went to the college. And I'm sure I was the first Videshi who had ever been to the college. And I walked in and I said, I'm going to join the college. And they all looked at me as if I had fallen down from Mars or somewhere. And they were about to explain how many ways I could not join the college until I showed them the letter. Oh, halat to bahut buri ho chuke hain, because naturally they can't say no to Pandit Shiv Sharma. So this is, I have to think there is some kind of adrishta, some kind of fate that brought me to the right place at the right moment to meet these people, who introduced me to these people, who introduced me to him, who wrote a letter, and then within the space of about 10 days, from not knowing what I was going to do, all of a sudden, there I was.
And as a sweet revenge, I think you won a gold medal too.
I did win the gold medal. And so I'm very pleased, and I feel it's not good to feel garv, but I feel proud that when I go to the to the college, my name is there, 1980, as the tops in the university winner of the gold medal. So you should not feel proud, but I feel like I was able to not do so badly.
Okay.